Hello, in this lecture we are going to discuss about test design and we will see what is the role of test analyst here. So first we will see what is the role of test manager. The test manager will as usual define the scope of testing and he will be responsible for the monitoring and control aspect only, whereas the test analyst in design phase will implement the test and these tests will be implemented and executed. So test analyst will write the test cases here and these test cases will be implemented and executed in the future process. So this is the main thing or the main task of the test analyst, to write the test case. Okay, so now let's move further and to see what are the different activities done during the test design phase. So the process of test design includes the following activities. Let's see the first activity. The first activity is determine in which test area low level or high level test cases are more appropriate. So this analysis has to be done by the test analyst. He will take care where we have to go to the lower level and where we have to see that with high level we can achieve what we want to achieve. The second point is determine the test case design technique that provides the necessary test coverage. So first we have to see whether we have to go for low level testing or the high level testing, and depending upon that we have to find out the test design technique. So this is one more activity. And the next one is create test cases. So this is very important. We have to create the test case that exercise the identified test condition. So in the test analysis phase, we identified the test condition, and in test design phase, using that test condition, we are going to write the test case. And before writing the test case, we have to ensure these two steps. The first one is to identify the low level testing and the high level testing for the test condition. Then we have to identify which technique we are going to apply here. And once we decide both of this, then we have to write the test case for that particular requirement. So these are the activities done during the test design phase. Now let's see two important points here. The first point is prioritization criteria identified during the risk analysis and test planning. So when we do test planning, that time we also prioritize certain things should be applied throughout the process from analysis, design, implementation and execution. So whichever stage you are in, you have to keep in mind that there are certain things or there are certain features which were prioritized during the test planning, and you have to start working on the prioritized task first. So this is the first point. And the second point and the important one is the entry criteria for test design may be the availability of tool that will be used during the design work. So when we are doing the design work, there is a chance that we need some tools, and having those tools could be one of the eligibility criteria or entry criteria. So these are the two important points here. First thing is prioritization. So the prioritization will continue from the analysis, design, implementation and execution stage, and availability of tool is the entry criteria for test design phase. So this is very important point, please remember. Now let's see some more points which you need to remember. That is, when designing test, it is important to remember the following points. So because here we are talking about test analyst, so that is the reason we are going in more detail, like what all things we have to consider while writing the test case. The first point is some test items are better addressed by defining only the test condition. So we will have a statement by seeing that if we see, okay, this can be tested. So it is not necessary that every time we go for a scripted test. So from the test case, we will define the scripted test. But for all the test conditions, it is not necessary. So that needs to be identified by the test analyst here. So for which test condition we should write the test script, and for which test condition it is not necessary to write the test script. By considering test condition as a guideline, we can test them without having a script also. That will save time. So that is the reason this analysis is required during the design phase. Now moving to the next point, that is the pass-fail criteria should be clearly defined. When the test case runs, or when someone is performing a test, when he can say that the test case is passed and the test case is failed, that has to be clearly defined, and this step is done in the test design phase. So defining the pass and fail criteria is done in the test design phase. So that is what you need to remember. It is very, very important point. Now moving to the next point, that is tests should be designed to be understandable by the other testers. So whatever test case an author writes, that has to be understandable by the other tester, because it is not necessary the one who writes the test case will execute the test case also. So that is the reason there should be some common nomenclature which needs to be followed, so that all the testers in the team understand what is written in the test case. So this is about the third point. Now let's move to the fourth point, that is tests must also be understandable by the other stakeholders. So when we talk about other stakeholders, they are nothing but developers, auditors, or the people in the management also. So developer should understand because he is going to review your test case. So in that case, he should understand before he review it or while he is reviewing. The next one is the auditors, because they are the one who are going to approve your test case. So they also need to understand what is written in the test case. This is about the fourth point. Now moving towards the fifth point, that is tests should be designed to cover all the interactions of the software with the actors. When I talk about actors, actors are nothing but end users or the other system. So we have to make sure whatever test cases we are writing, it should consider the end user's perspective as well as other systems interaction also. And the last point is tests should be designed to test the interface between the various test objects. So if there are many requirements, there should be a test case which is testing the interface between them. So these are the points which you need to remember. And the most important one which you need to know is pass and fail criteria are identified during the test design phase. So with this, I am ending this particular video and I will see you with the next lecture. Until then, happy testing.